it's always a hard yes to keep our government open. I mean, that's my principle because it's wrong to shut our government down. And now we knew that we would put those 42 million Americans for SNAP and paying our military and, the Capitol Police. I mean, people have went 5 weeks without being paid. I mean, that's a violation of my core values, and I think it's our party's as well.
I would say people have gone 4 weeks, not people have went 4 weeks, but I'm not a senator, whereas John Fetterman is. Almost amazingly. Well, a very good and happy Tuesday to you once again, and welcome back. We are at 888-630-9625. The left-wing radicals and the news media very, very rankled this morning. Their panties in a bunch because the Senate passed a shutdown deal to reopen the government, and Democrats are very angry. They're angry with Schumer. They want to lynch him. The Democrat Party is historically the party of lynching people, racist lynchings and other lynchings. The Democrats, they're the party of the lynch mob, always have been. But they're very angry over at MS-13 DNC, for example. A schism, a big divide in the Democrat Party over reopening the government because 8 Democrats voted last night to reopen the government, thus proving conclusively that it was the Democrats all along keeping the government shut down and they could have reopened the government at any time. And they lied about it the entire time. Hakeem Jeffries and the Lizard King, Chuck Schumer, they lied and they lied and they lied. They lie about everything all the time. And they're good at that. That's the one thing they're good at, I guess, is lying a lot. There is an Axios story here. Scoop, colon. Scoop and colon, they go together for them. Schumer privately fought to extend government shutdown. I'm sorry, what's this? Schumer privately fought to extend the government shutdown, but didn't he say that he wanted the government to open? Oh, yeah, he was lying because he lies all the time. And the Democrats, this is Axios, left-wing outlet, Democrats are blaming Schumer for not prolonging the shutdown. In reality, it could have been much shorter. 2 weeks into the shutdown, a group of moderates, they pretend that they have moderates, and that's a lie, too, and weeks later, they lie about it again. 2 weeks into the shutdown many weeks ago now, a group of moderates, that'd be Democrats, told Schumer that they were ready to vote to open the government, according to 3 sources familiar with the conversation. It's unclear if that group was big enough to end the shutdown, but Schumer persuaded the moderates to hold out until at least the beginning of November. That's a good idea. When open enrollment for the Affordable Care Act began. The Washington Post says the Affordable Care Act was never affordable, and they accidentally told the truth years after the fact. In mid-October, Schumer made it clear to his entire caucus, to all the Democrats, that he was likely to come out against the emerging bipartisan deal that a group of moderate senators were pushing. So he opposed it. He's the power broker. He shut it down. And a lot of Democrats wanted 2 weeks into it. They said, this is stupid. What are we doing this for? Let's go ahead and open the government. And Chuck Schumer shut it down because Chuck Schumer's a crook. He's a crook, I tell you. He's crooked. He's not on the side of the American people by any stretch of the imagination. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. They're just appalling. Appalling, I'm telling you. And now where are we? Well, now we are at a place where where the House of Representatives has the bill because 8 Democrats were traitors. They betrayed the Democrat Party because the Democrat Party wanted to make sure the government shut down. They need the American people to suffer for as long as possible and then blame the other guy. That's how this works, and that's the business that these people are in. They're really something, these people. These people are. They're appalling. They're embarrassing. They're terrible. But we've got that going. So now the Congress, the House of Representatives and And the Senate, a little bit of progress has been made. The Democrats, they like to call themselves progressives, progressives. And the reality is that because 8 Democrats crossed the aisle, came over to join the Republicans, 8 Democrats voted to open the government. All the Republicans, except for Rand Paul, voted to open the government. Therefore, the Senate voted to open the government. And all it took all along was for 8 Democrats to say, okay, let's open the government. And this proves that. But Manu Raju and the people at CNN and the other people in the phony media, they're not going to tell the truth about it. They're going to lie about it, you see. That's the thing about them, is that they lie about these things all along. And one of the headlines today is Mike Johnson, he's the Speaker of the House, eyes Wednesday vote with end of government shutdown in sight. It could all be opened up today. Could have been opened weeks ago. Chuck Schumer shut it down. Chuck Schumer has been holding a gun to the baby's head the whole time with the hammer pulled back, his sweaty, quivering hand, clutching the gun, extorting from the American people. He wanted to steal another $1.5 trillion to bail out Obamacare, which was never affordable. The Fox News people have the headline, Senate ends 41-day government shutdown stalemate, sends bipartisan bill to House, to the House of Representatives over there. The shutdown stalemate that has dragged on in the Senate officially ended late Monday night, and it places Congress on a path to reopen the government later this week. Why not today? Because everything moves so slowly and corruptly here in Washington. Senators advanced a bipartisan funding package to end the government shutdown after a group of Senate Democrats, wait a minute, I thought they weren't responsible for the shutdown, broke from their colleagues and joined Republicans in their bid, the Republican bids, to reopen the government, which the Republicans have been voting to do all along. Those same 8 Senate those Democratic caucus members, stuck with Republicans and provided the crucial votes needed to send the package to the House. Is it a suspicious package? Do they have anything interesting about that package? The votes went deep into Monday night on the shutdown's 41st day, thanks to Schumer, and resulted in an updated continuing resolution being combined with 2 of a trio of spending bills in a minibus package that is now headed to the House. It's appropriate. They should all be on the minibus, don't you think, all these people? I think they're little bus people from way back. Whether the Senate would get to this point was up in the air for much of last week and even earlier in the day. On Monday, lawmakers were riding high after smashing through the package's first procedural test. But concerns of objections by the Democrats and other procedural maneuvers by the Democrats threatened by the Democrats to derail the process because of the Democrats. I think everybody's pretty united behind this bill, said Senator Bernie Moreno, the Republican from Ohio. And he said, we want to reopen the government. Well, we know that the Republicans have wanted to reopen the government all along. The Democrats have been obstructing. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat in New York, and his caucus demanded, they're always demanding, throughout the entirety of the shutdown that they would only vote to reopen the government if they received an ironclad deal on expiring Obamacare subsidies. Now, they did not get that, but they buckled anyway because they lie about everything. But that deal, Fox News writes, or at least the one that Democrats wanted, never materialized. Oh, no, you're such losers. What, you're liars and losers. You're lying losers. Instead, 8 Senate Democrats took the offer that Senate Majority Leader Senator John Thune, Republican South Dakota, has made since the beginning. A guarantee to vote on legislation that would deal with the subsidies. The Obamacare, the Unaffordable Act, it's the, they call it, the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, they call it the ACA, should be the UCA, the UCA, the Unaffordable Care Act. Thune reiterated his promise and noted that a vote would come, quote, no later than the second week of December. So Thune stood strong. Thune didn't budge. Thune didn't buckle. He didn't give in to the corrupt, crazy, lazy, mentally ill Democrats. And he stood firm. And 8 Democrats crossed the aisle, worked with Thune, voted with the Republicans to get it out of the Schumer gridlock Senate. And the Schumer shutdown should be on the way toward the exit. We have senators, both Democrat and Republican, who are eager to get to work and address that crisis in a bipartisan way, Thune said. These senators are not interested in political games. They're interested in finding real ways to address health care costs for American families. And Obamacare drove them up and up and up. And that's why they lied and called it the Affordable Care Act, because they knew it would make everything 4 times as expensive for everyone. And what they're pushing for is state-run health care that they call single payer, that socialist countries have, and that's what the Democrats want. These senators are not interested in political games. They're interested in finding real ways to address health care costs in American families. We also have a president who's willing to sit down and get to work on the issue. Senate Democrats did not leave completely empty-handed, however. Included in the revamped continuing resolution, they like to call it a CR because everything has to be a code, which would reopen the government until January 30th. January, not December, but January 30th, was a reversal of the Trump administration's firing of furloughed federal workers. The Democrats just want to grow the bureaucracy and watch it expand and expand and expand. A deal to ensure that furloughed workers, we used to call them employees before we were the Soviet Union, would get back pay and future protections for federal workers, another Soviet word, during shutdowns. The members of Congress all get paid during the shutdowns because they're third world banana republic corrupt up there. That's what they're. This was the only deal on the table, Democrat Senator Jeanne Shaheen said, one of the 8 Democrats that crossed the aisle to support the Republican package. It was our best chance to reopen the government and immediately begin negotiations to extend the Obamacare tax credits that tens of millions of Americans rely on to keep costs down. It doesn't keep costs down. It redistributes wealth to pay for it. That's the government subsidies program, which corrupts health care, destroys health care. We had the greatest health care system in the history of humankind and in the world at any time until Obamacare came along. And Obamacare corrupted the hell out of it because the Democrats are corrupt as hell. And they are the third world. And they bring the third world with them with everything they do. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Senator Tim Kaine, Democrat, Virginia, he's just awful. And they call them tax credits. It's a massive redistribution of wealth, hundreds of billions of dollars. Michael, how much money did Joe Biden spend on bailing out student loans? Hundreds of billions of dollars. Hundreds of billions in bailing out student loans. Well, that was only one effort, I think, because there were multiple. Then they came back, and then there's another one. $190 billion for the first go-around, and then more than that. The Democrats are communists, and they want to steal money from people that work hard and give that money to illegal alien gang members who are rapists and murderers and drunk drivers, and they give them commercial driver's licenses, too. So isn't that amazing? Tim Kaine, another of the 8 Senate Democrats to break with Schumer, said that it was clear that Republicans weren't going to budge on their position that health care would be dealt with after the government reopened. And then it took the Democrats weeks and weeks and weeks to remove their heads from one another's dark and remote locations as they did that Democrat conga line. Aren't they amazing? But it wasn't the guarantee of a vote on the expiring subsidies. Why does it have to be subsidized? It was supposed to be making it less expensive for everybody. Made it more expensive for everybody. Made it much worse. There are doctors fleeing the medical industry and retiring early because of Obamacare, because it's made their profession such a pain in the rump and a nightmare. Aren't they amazing? Huge win for John Thune and for the Speaker, Mike Johnson, and for Republicans on Capitol Hill. Huge loss for Democrats. Huge loss for Schumer. They've still destroyed the American healthcare industry. Barack Obama has, thanks to his communist mentor, Frank Marshall Davis, when he was a teenager, Barack Obama, and all the commie influence all around him. Hundreds and hundreds of billions and billions. And now they need another $1.5 trillion just to bail it out for another 6 months or something. This is why we have a $37.5 trillion national debt. You know that the big wireless companies, your cell phone company, pulling one over on all of us, and they have been for a long time. It's time to make the switch to consumer cellular. Listen, I did, and I'm getting the same fast, reliable, nationwide, big wireless coverage, same towers, same network, same transmitters, without the big wireless cost. However, how can that be? It's not just about saving money on my bill every month, although that's real good. It's also about not being used and abused by my own cell phone company. Do you have any idea how much data you use every month? I certainly do not in my case. Most people the age of 50 and up use less than 8 gigs of data in any given month, but the big wireless companies push everybody into an unlimited data plan because they need to redistribute your bill to help pay for the 19-year-olds that are using 10 times as much data as you're using. And if you're not using all that data, you are the one being used and abused by your own cell phone company. When you've had enough of that, it's time to make the switch to consumer cellular. They set me up with a phone, and listen, it's easy to make the switch. You call, you talk to an actual human being on the phone. That person is based right here in the United States, not a robot on a space station over Indonesia, and the people are actually helpful. It'll only take you about 20 minutes to make the switch. Give them a call and make that change today. Call 800-760-0702. That's 800-760-0702. Yes, sir. Yeah, so big win for the Republicans and a big loss for all of America. Democrat members of the Senate are, they're not happy unless they're not happy. So the bill has moved out of the Senate back to the House. Democrats are trying to find a way to sabotage it there because they want to starve children to death by the tens of millions. They're like the Soviet Union in Ukraine in the Soviet days, the Stalinist days. They're just nuts. I've got 3 Democrat senators that talked to Manu Raju. And, you know, he doesn't know what a follow-up question is. He proves it every time he's sucking up to a Democrat. And then we've got the world's most famous Democrat lady radio talk show host literally kissing the feet of a Democrat member of Congress. That lunacy coming up. President Trump taking the fight to the BBC because they lie over there, too. Isn't that amazing? Let's go to a bit of audio here. We remain at 888-630-9625. Let's go back to corrupt fake journalist at CNN, Manu Raju. Manu Raju on Capitol Hill talking to his Democrat Party colleagues, Democrat Party pals. Democrat senator from New Jersey named Andy Kim. Hey, Andy Kim, it turns out the Republicans, plus 8 Democrats, voted to open the government, and now the bill's moved out of the Senate, and it's moving over to the House of Representatives, where it may be voted on tomorrow, and we can reopen the government. And this whole Chuck Schumer shakedown, this whole Obamacare bailout shakedown is just so criminal. And if we had a legitimate news media that told the truth about it, it would change the landscape politically in the United States of America. But that's why they don't tell the truth about it, because it would not change the landscape in favor of the Democrat Party, who have been lying to us about the government shutdown and about Obamacare. They've been lying about Obamacare for 15 years, and now they're lying about the government shutdown and what you say you want $1.5 trillion to bail out Obamacare again? And when are we going to have to, and they call them subsidies. If Obamacare works so well, Why do we need another $1.5 trillion to subsidize it, to bail it out once again, and just add that, I guess, to our national debt? Is that what we're doing? But none of that comes up at CNN, and Manu Raju is not a journalist. This is Manu Raju with his handheld microphone in the Capitol or under the Capitol, up on Capitol Hill, talking to Democrat New Jersey Senator Andy Kim.
What just happened in the Senate chamber was an absolute disgrace. I can't stress it enough. I'm just so pissed off at just what's going to happen to so many people.
What's going to happen to so many people? It's an absolute disgrace. You mean and Manu Raju doesn't say, well, they voted to reopen the government. Isn't it best? You're a government guy. You're a statist. Isn't it best that the government be open? And no, but he's whizzed. And they all use unsavory language these days. But he called it an absolute disgrace. Democrat Senator Andy Kim of New Jersey. Absolute disgrace what happened. And he's really whizzed. Boy, is he angry. He can't get over it. And Manu Raju just nods in agreement and says, oh, it's so sad. He's really angry. He's whizzed. And isn't it terrible? It's an absolute disgrace. So he wants the government, his vote is on the record, he wants the government shut down, and he wants nobody to get anything. Air traffic controllers can all go to hell as far as Democrat Senator Andy Kim is concerned, and air travelers can all go to hell as far as he's concerned, because your flights are going to be canceled and delayed and postponed. And I played the audio yesterday of an airline pilot coming back to talk to the people on the airplane saying, call your senator. This is ridiculous. The TSA line took 2 hours. The flight was delayed by 2 hours. Then they finally got on the airplane, and they were sitting on the tarmac for an hour and a half. And the Democrats say, this is perfect. This is just what we want, because we're going to tell everybody that it's Trump's fault. And we'll have our propaganda network go around and tell everybody that's Trump's fault. That includes late-night TV, of course, and, entertainment, the entertainment propagandists for the Democrat Party. Manu Raju then continued ahead, and he found another Democrat senator, John Hickenlooper. His real name is apparently Hickenlooper. He's a Hickenlooper. And here's Manu Raju with Senator John Hickenlooper. He's a Democrat from Colorado.
Is the shutdown worth it? Yeah, I think so. I hate it.
Yeah.
But,
I hate
it's worth it, definitely. We got people to pay attention to the fact that this is a traumatic, in many cases, life or death situation for people all over this country.
We got people to pay attention that it's a life or death situation for people all over this country. Yeah. Was the shutdown worth it? Yeah, I think it was. He's lying. I can tell from here. I've never met the man. I can tell just from the insincerity dripping from his voice and that response that he was lying right there. Was the shutdown worth it? No is the correct answer. You got nothing out of it. Oh, yeah, because now, people are paying attention. This life or death. Yeah, Obamacare is life or death, and you guys taking over health care. When the state takes over your health care, they give you your health care. They provide you with health care, and they deny you your health care, and they take away your health care. Because when the state, the man, Mr. Charlie, gives you your health care, then Mr. Charlie can take away your health care. And in New York, the communist jihadi, Mamdani, he wants to control grocery stores, because when they control the grocery stores, they control your food. What do you do when morbidly obese people show up at your state-controlled grocery store with their food stamps, their SNAP? What about that? And it's the Democrats that denied people the food stamps, the SNAP benefits, and then they, of course, blame everybody else. But there's Hickenlooper. We had Andy Kim. He's really whizzed. He's very angry, and it's an absolute disgrace. But they're in favor of it anyway. And Hickenlooper, was it worth it? Oh, yeah, it was worth it, because now people are paying attention, and it's a matter of life and death. Really, that's what you got out of it? You're so fired. You ought to be gassed. You ought to be taken in for health care in Baltimore or something. Let's go, because Manu Raju then found another Democrat senator from Rhode Island, this one, Jack Reed. Does he belong to that whites-only yacht club, too, or is that just white man? Is that just Democrat Senator Sheldon Whiteman? Here's Democrat Senator Jack Reed with his pal Manu Raju.
Was the shutdown worth it?
I think it was, because I think
It was.
the perception, we made it clear that
Perception.
not just the health care issue,
Made
but
it clear.
the whole issue.
The whole
I
issue.
think it was remarkable when the
What whole
president
issue?
tried to use SNAP as the punishment to force us to capitulate.
The president tried to use SNAP to force us to capitulate. You guys canceled all of it. The president stepped in to provide for at least some of the food stamps. And then this is the demented Jack Reed summary. You must have gone to Ivy League schools all the way, because you're too big an idiot to have gone to a state school. Wow, that's just, yeah, it was worth it. And Trump used SNAP. Yeah, that's what happened. You guys control SNAP. You guys shut the government down. You guys want to have single payer, which is another one of those ridiculous misnomers that means nothing, single payer. What it means is total state control of your health care, total government control of your health care, and for your family, for your mother and your grandmother, for your children. They're gonna kill your dog soon too, because they gotta. Is that part of their health care? Your pet insurance? Aren't they amazing? Now let's go, because I mentioned that the propaganda apparatus of the Democrat Party is on the march goose-stepping to failure. And one of their goose-steppers is Jimmy Kimmel. He used to do that Girls on Trampolines. That was the highlight of his entire career, I think, and of the comedy that he ever did. Now, here's Jimmy Kimmel last night on network television, and they were all at it on network television last night. But listen to this. The lies that these people tell, the propaganda that the Democrat Party, the apparatus that they've stood up across the country and all the various media. And here is Jimmy Kimmel. Listen to the number of lies, but they're Democrat Party talking points. They're all Democrat Party talking point lies. Trump made health care more expensive, right? And what Trump, because of Trump, people are off health care. Now, you guys shut the government down. He's been fighting to reopen the government all along. And then you want to have a conversation about bailing out Obamacare again, because it's the most unaffordable health care that anybody's ever seen anywhere. But here's the Jimmy Kimmel propaganda for the Democrat Party last night on his national network TV show.
We are on day 41 of the Trump government shutdown. Democrats refuse to sign on to a bill that would force millions of Americans off their health care and make it much more expensive for those who can't afford health care. So Democrats drew a line in the sand. They said, we are not going over this. And today, after 41 days, they pulled out a shovel and a bucket, and they ate all that sand and got nothing for it. Isn't that great? It is incredible at his age that Chuck Schumer is still able to bend over so far. It's Chuck Schumer.
And that's it. That's what you get. It's the Democrat Party propaganda, the Trump shutdown, and stupid people in the crowd who are going to go out and shoot and loot and self-immolate, and not quickly enough. Isn't that amazing? The Democrat Party, they are not on the side of the angels, not by any stretch of the imagination. Bop, bop, bop. These people, I am telling you. Yeah, and Stephen Colbert, again, the propaganda apparatus of the Democrat Party. Stephen Colbert on CBS, all right, and on ABC, they've got Jimmy Kimmel, and they're all propagandists for the left, for the Democrat Party, because it keeps it cool. And then their 14-year-old dates come along. Stephen Colbert last night doing the same thing that they're all doing, because there's barely one brain among them to share.
41 days so far. It is the longest shutdown in U.S. history. Democrats have been holding the line, demanding Republicans compromise to keep Affordable Care Act subsidies available for millions of Americans. Well, last night, 8 Democratic senators voted with Republicans to fund the government through January without any Affordable Care Act guarantees.
Guarantees, ooh.
So yes, the shutdown may have been long and painful for millions of Americans, but at least it achieved jack squat. That is, and we know why Jack is squatting.
First of all, they failed the comedy test, because if it were funny, I would laugh. But it's not funny. It's just propaganda, and it's third-rate propaganda at that. Day 41. Again, the Trump shutdown. Isn't that amazing? Kimmel calls it the Trump shutdown, and Colbert, it's a pure Democrat shutdown, 100%. Chuck Schumer, Democrat, Senate-driven shutdown. And the propagandists at network TV who are paid, tens of millions of dollars each to do propaganda for the Democrat Party, they can't even make it funny, which is the biggest crime of all, I think. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, and the Affordable Care Act subsidies. All right, who do you think's paying those subsidies? Cab drivers and bus drivers and plumbers and flight attendants and everybody out there working in a 7-Eleven. They're paying into the death trap that's the national debt, $37.5 trillion in debt. And they just want to keep throwing money because that makes them feel good about themselves. They're too stupid to know what they're actually endorsing or where the money's coming from or whether it's actually being paid for or anything else. But our Democrat Party, they're truly something. All right. Wait, there's Seth Meyers, too. Let's go to, because the propagandists are everywhere. NBC, back to NBC television network with Seth Meyers.
A group of 8 Senate Democrats broke last night with party leadership to support an agreement that would fund the government through January and does not include an extension for enhanced Obamacare tax credits. God, they're so bad at this. It's like going to a car dealership, seeing it's $30,000 and saying, I'll give you $50,000, but you have to sleep with my wife.
It's not like that at all. It's nothing like that, and it's a stretch to try to get a loser laugh out of their loser audience. Just extraordinary. And the lies are everywhere, the Democrat Party's lies. Information dominance, propaganda, Socialist Workers' Party. All right, let's take another phone call, Michael. Let's go to Steve, calling from Omaha, Nebraska. Stephen, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Yes, greetings from the prairie. Really, really, really good one.
I love it. The prairie, a really good prairie. Nebraska, the American prairie.
Amen. That's right. Okay, so last week was Halloween. I kept having this recurring nightmare about being stuck in a room with 3 people and only having 2 rounds, with the J. Jones theme that was going on.
Sure, of course, yeah.
And so this nightmare was I was in a room with Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Leonard Jeffries, and then, of course, the Lizard King, Chucky Schumer. And I only had 2 rounds.
What can you do?
Depressed. Right. So it turns out Nancy Pelosi has saved my life.
Oh, no.
Because, yes, in my nightmare, my logical deduction was to shoot myself in the head for 2 times because I couldn't stand the company I was in. But Nancy has saved my life. She's chosen to retire. So now, if this nightmare ever came true, I now no longer have to shoot myself.
Wow, that's pretty good. I got to tell you could run for chief law enforcement officer of a whole bunch of states, for attorney general, because this is the Democrat J. Jones story of having only 2 bullets and being locked in a room with Adolf Hitler and Pol Pot and the Republican Speaker of the House in the State House in Virginia. And both bullets go to the Republicans' head, and then he wanted their children, his children, to be murdered in the arms of their mother. And he wants police officers to be murdered, too, because he's a Democrat. And you, calling in from America, the prairie, Nebraska, called in to mock and ridicule these ridiculous Democrats. And you built some math in there, too. And I like that, Steve. That's
a little bit.
A little math.
Right.
Every time I do math on here, I screw it up. But you got it right.
Hey, thank you very much.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you bet. Steve, thank you. See, he's got it. He cracked the code. He's got it figured out. And here's the difference between Steve and Jay Jones, who's just elected by millions and millions of Democrats in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Steve is joking. Steve is kidding. Steve is not really desirous of shooting anybody in the head. He's mocking and ridiculing the violent, murderous urges of the Democrat Party in 2025. And we all got it, see? But Democrats, they're mentally ill and violently, criminally insane. Other than that, very nice people. Not really, though. You know how that is. You know, a recent study revealed that just 1 year after a woman has an abortion, those women are 50% more likely to need psychiatric treatment. And the same women are 87% more likely to experience personality or behavioral disorders. That's not women's health care, as the Democrats call it. That's trauma. But at preborn, the great people at preborn, women find a real kind of care, real health care, the kind that heals. When a woman walks into one of preborn's network of clinics across the country, she is welcomed with open arms by loving people. She can actually see her baby writhing about and waving and blinking through an ultrasound, and she's offered hope-filled choices. If she chooses life, and it's her choice, Preborn continues working with her for up to 2 years, providing maternity clothing and diapers and counseling on how to be the mother of a newborn and so much more. Preborn helps care for the whole woman and, of course, for the precious baby, her child, growing inside of her. As you think about your year-end giving, donations that you'll be making by the end of the year, consider the greatest investment you could ever make, the gift of life. All you have to do is dial pound 250, and when prompted, say the keyword baby. That's pound 250. The keyword is baby, or you can go to Al Gore's Amazing Internet, like I like to do, and go to preborn.com/plant. That's me, preborn.com/PLANTE. All your gifts are, of course, tax deductible, and Preborn is a 5-star rated charity. Doesn't get any better than that. So great, so wonderful. All right, so where does the government not shut down, the government reopening go from here? The Republicans are opening, and the Democrats are still lying about it because it's what comes naturally.